welcome back to my channel. We all know that giving up macaroni and cheese is one of the hardest parts about going plant-based, but I have a really delicious and very nutritious, creamy, beautiful cheese sauce that you're gonna love on pasta or on broccoli, potatoes, anything you love a cheese sauce on. It's very kid approved. My kids are loving this right now. We've tried so many macaroni and cheese sauce recipes. This is one of our favorites. Let me show you how to make it. And I feel like any good plate of macaroni and cheese needs some broccoli to go with it, so stay tuned and I'll show you how I make the best broccoli your kids and your family will love, and it only takes like 1 minute of work, so stay tuned for that. I love recipes that use very few ingredients and common ingredients you won't have to go on a huge hunt for to find. These are very common, affordable ingredients. The most uncommon might be nutritional yeast, which I order on Amazon, and I'll link it below. This is my favorite brand. You might be wary of it, but just hear me out. We're also using sweet potatoes today, which are going to give it a beautiful orange color, and it adds a subtle sweetness and just a great texture. We're also using cashews. And before you stop watching, if you can't eat nuts or you don't like to put cashews in your cheese sauce, there are other options, and so this is still going to be delicious if you don't use these. But if you can eat cashews, they add a great creamy texture that is just unbeatable. Onion powder, salt, lemon, and water, and a clove of garlic. So we're going to boil the water. I measured the water because we're going to dump that whole pot of the water and the sweet potatoes, and so it's helpful to measure. You want to use 2 medium to large sweet potatoes. These are kind of on the smaller end because they were the largest I could find this time, but you want about 1.5 to 2 pounds of sweet potatoes for this recipe, so you might even need to use 3 small ones. I'm going to put a lid on that. It's kind of going to steam them more than boil them because there's not quite enough water to cover. At the same time, bring a second pot of water to boil for the pasta if you're making macaroni and cheese. While those sweet potatoes finish cooking, we're going to add the rest of the cheese ingredients into a blender. I am going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. I love this little lemon squeezer. If you don't have one, you really need one. I use it every single day. Saves your hands from squeezing it by hand. So it's about the juice of half of a large lemon, or you could put the whole lemon in there. A tablespoon if you want to measure, but I never measure my lemon juice. And then a teaspoon of onion powder. And then a clove of garlic. We're going to add 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast to the blender. A teaspoon of salt. Now we're going to blend her up. So I just have to spoon up a little and have some to show you how I eat macaroni and cheese. Even though there's plenty of salt in this cheese sauce, I always like a little more on top. And some pepper. And I always put red pepper flakes on the table. I need a fancier jar because this is always on the table. I love a little heat on almost everything. Just look at that. And now for that broccoli trick. Roasted broccoli is divine. Just try it. Dump out a bag of frozen broccoli onto a baking sheet. Put it in the oven at 425 for about 30 minutes. I put a little bit of olive oil on it sometimes, or some salt and pepper. A little garlic powder is good too, but honestly it's just good on its own. So just bake it, and it's so good. We have tried a lot of vegan cheese sauces over the years. One of our favorites is a cauliflower macaroni and cheese sauce. So if you'd like this to have no nuts and be lower carb, that recipe is linked below as well. It's one of my kids' very favorites. I've made it so many times and we always love it. That's our other favorite besides the sweet potato one. Another one that we really like is in my cookbook, Plant-Based Cooking for Kids, and it's a box macaroni and cheese recipe. So it's just a mix that you have in a jar in your pantry, and you can make macaroni and cheese just like you would out of a box, but without all those chemicals and without the milk and all of that. If you enjoy healthy recipes and cooking with your kids, you've got to get this. There are so many really fun activities and there are so many really fun recipes awaiting you. Thanks so much for watching.